This is an ultimate global podcast. Hello, and welcome to our Daily Dose podcast, covering all about day-to-day global affairs. You're listening to Saurabh Kora and George Mavros from Sydney.
Hello, and a very good evening to everyone who is joining us from Sydney and also from around the world. It was not a great weekend and a good news coming from United Kingdom as we lost one of the UK MPs, David Amess, who was stabbed to death while he was meeting his constituents in the church. Now, this is not the first attack that has happened. A similar attack also happened 5 years back with a Labour MP in a different constituency, and he was killed in a pretty similar manner. So this is the second time a British lawmaker has been killed in out there, and it has been considered to be a direct attack on the elected officials, and it's an attack on the democracy as well, because of which serious questions need to be asked related to the security of the MPs. Because now the next question will be that if the MPs are not feeling secure, can the general public feel safe in UK? What do you think about this, George?
Yes, it's rather a tragic situation because the guy's just there doing his job. He's trying to support his constituents. He's trying to be accessible. We often talk about our political leaders. Are they accessible enough? Well, he was, and it cost him his life. But that is the game plan of the terrorists, to put fear into people, and sadly, some guy doesn't go home to his wife and children, or his mother or his father or his boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, just because he happened to be of a different view to that person. Rather ironic that supposedly the act is carried out by a man based on somewhat of religious values in a church. But it has to make everybody else think.
Absolutely. And looking at some of the reports and articles, George, it seems to be that one of the reports suggests that it might be linked to Islamist extremism. Another report also suggests that the man who was arrested was a British national. And according to those inquiries, he seems to be from the Somalia heritage. So these are the two initial reports that we have got in the news. Do you have anything to say on that? Were you able to go through that?
Yeah, I think it's a bit early for me because, as you know, Saurabh, I like to see a bit more fact before we start delving into the fiction of the hypothesis. If I decide to harm you, and I'm a crazy guy, and I come up and I attack you and I say, in the name of the Church of England, or in the name of the Methodists, or in the name of Allah, or in the name of whatever, everybody says, oh, well, he said that, so it's a terrorist attack and it's all about Muslim or Christianity or whatever. If I'm in Ireland, I'm either a Protestant or a Catholic in the greater majority of the case. So if I come up and I hit you and I say, in the name of the Protestant religion, it doesn't necessarily mean that's what it was. It's I chose to yell that out. If you remember the Lint Cafe, the guy that was responsible for that, he was trying to make that out as being all about a religious situation. The guy was just a nutter, So I think it's a bit early, but yes, supposedly Somali background and British citizen. we can all have extreme. We've seen it in America. We've got it in Australia. We've got it in other countries. There's people that are here that are believers in white supremacy and the Nazi movement. So the fact that you don't have to be from another country to be a radical, and you don't have to be from another country to be a terrorist. The act of terrorism is using force and fear to put forward your political or your religious views. Anybody can be terrorizing.
And another critical argument, George, here is that he was a person who was quite regular in meeting people from his constituency. And the report suggests that he used to meet on every first and third Friday uh, on a face to face basis, one on one basis with the people whom have voted for him. Now, it also raises this concern when we also sometimes talk about that politicians should develop a one-on-one relationship, but they also have to face this kind of security threats, and they need to be very careful while they're meeting on a one-on-one basis as to what the purpose of the meeting is, what the location of the meeting is, because all that also can play a major role in determining the security threats incidents that are happening in UK and around the world.
Yeah, I seem to recall reading somewhere in the last day or so that the authorities put out a warning to all ministers to be very wary of where they're holding their meetings and who they're meeting with, until they get a bit more understanding of whether this was a lone wolf or part of a group or a cell, however you want to refer to it. But whether he's lone wolf, whether he's part of a cell or whatever, if you're a politician and Monday, Tuesday you were going to go and meet the people in your local pub, your local church, your local shopping centre, it has to run through your mind. Is that the smartest thing for me to be doing at the moment? And the problem is that you can understand that fear, and you can understand taking precautions and all of that. But if we start to have a situation where that's limited, then the terrorists has won. The terrorist movement wins. I think like many things, there'll be a pullback. There'll be a bit of a concern. There'll be a bit of caution. And then down the track, it'll drift a bit, and the majority of people will move on.
Yeah, and it also talks about the legacy that David Amess has left behind him, in the sense that one of the residents was also talking about the fact that when he used to travel in the train, he used to regularly interact with people, and he was very much approachable in comparison to other ministers. So, do you think that being approachable is kind of increasing the threat that you have on your safety as a minister? You have already touched based upon that. But what do you think about this point, that you cannot have both the things? Either you can be approachable to the people in that way, or you can take care of your safety when you become a minister, especially in countries like this where different kinds of terrorist attacks are happening quite frequently these days.
Look, for a start, he was accessible, but he didn't get attacked on a train. If you look at the tragedy of John Lennon being killed, he's just walking. Somebody decided that was an important thing for them to do, or Sharon Tate, or any of the others, where somebody goes and has some sort of mental issue and decides that that's the way to do it. So I am a firm believer: if your number's up, your number's up, and if your number's not up, your number's not up. You don't go out of your way to make the odds work against you. But I think if we go back over some of the popes and some prime ministers and some presidents over the years, they've been very accessible, and yep, a couple of them have been shot, but many of them have not. where do you draw the line? I guess it comes back to an individual's risk profile. As I said, I wouldn't be rushing out to increase my odds of being attacked, but I'm not sure that I would retreat either, because, as you know, I'm a person that doesn't believe in living your life in fear. So if everyone starts living their life in fear, then the terrorists has won. The bullies will only win properly if the rest of us allow them to have us live our life in fear. So does that mean I'm saying be blasé and not do anything? No, I'm not saying that at all. Think about it and be a bit more cautious here and there. But I'm not prepared for society to think about we all go and hide behind the doors now. And I don't think the greater majority of politicians will do that. It's a sad and a tragic affair. It was sad and tragic when we've had people attacked on the streets, be it with knives, be it with guns, be it with cars, be it with trucks. And the problem that we suffer from is the lone wolf attack is always the hardest to work out. There's not very much chatter. There's not a whole string of things going on, and the more conversation that's held, the better the chance the authorities have got of picking up that something's happening. Whereas with these guys, it just occurs.
And you kind of also feel very sad for his wife and children, who never would have thought that this was the last day that Sir David would be going to the church and he will never be coming back home. And that has not only scared his wife, but a lot of other wives in the country, a lot of other women in the country whose husbands are, or husbands whose wives are working in the politics, not only in UK, but this can be an incident anywhere in the world.
Yeah, and so you're 100% right. It's not just wives; it's wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, fathers, mothers, children. Children that are old enough to understand. Now, his children mightn't be that old, but if you're a politician and you've got teenage children that are fully aware of what's going on, that puts them under pressure. It's a hard session, and again, it's very sad for the family and his community. There'll be whoever invited him to come along to be there, whoever talked about organising it, whoever did this, they'll all be saying to themselves, could I have done anything differently? And in the majority of cases, not that they're probably listening to me, but I'd just say to them, no, there's probably not a lot that you could do, because that guy just decided. He decided to pick on that particular person. Probably because he was a decent bloke and that made him a softer target. Just very sad situation.
What do you think, George, can be one or two key lessons which can be taken away from this incident for people around the world to make sure that these kind of incidents can be avoided in the future, and also for the politicians to make sure that they are taking all possible precautions from their side itself?
Well, if you stop and think about it, this happened in a church. So short of having metal detectors and searching every single person that comes into that church at that time, or the location that you're at, what are you going to do about it? And I'm sure a lot of our listeners have watched enough movies to know that within jail, a lot of stabbings go on, and they use a plastic toothbrush that's been sharpened. So even if you have a metal detector, if somebody's crazy enough, they're going to have a go at it. I guess you've got to question: am I taking enough security measures? Am I being a little bit too open to the public. What else can you do? You either have the choice of changing what you're doing dramatically, or you carry on and you just be a little bit more observant. Whilst I don't live in fear, there are certain precautions I take when I'm walking in certain areas at certain times of the night, or whether I've got somebody with me, my wife or children or whatever. I have a different observation level than when I'm on my own. But even on my own, I'm fairly aware of my environment. But yeah, and it's just not in that area. It's not even in that country. If you're on security detail for anybody for the next few days or weeks, that all of those people are going to be at a heightened alert, because it's been shown just how easy it could have been. And you have to wonder, are there any people out there that are disturbed and will suddenly take a copycat approach to the whole thing. That's the other. If I had family and friends that were in the political situation, that would be something that would play on my mind. Is there somebody else that'll do this for some reason? I haven't seen a lot that tells me that David was a very strong campaigner against Muslim belief or any particular Muslim-based country and all of that. So it doesn't appear as though he was a very loud voice in opposition to the belief. I personally, from what I've seen so far, I just think this bloke decided he needed an excuse to harm somebody, and so he decided to pick on a politician and then relate it back to religion. I do wonder sometimes how easy is it for us to put something down to a terrorist attack based on religion, as opposed to somebody wanted an excuse to hurt somebody and they decided on that. I mean, if that guy spoke a lot about not liking people that wear brown suits, and he happens to harm somebody that's in a brown suit, is that a terrorist attack on brown suit wearers? And I'm not playing down that side of it, but not everybody that yells out in the name of God is a believer in God. They just use that for some excuse.
Absolutely. And I think that's something which we can take forward as a lesson, that these kind of incidents will keep on happening in the near future as well. But what we can take precautions from our end, or the politicians' end, is uh, to make sure that even if you are meeting on a one-on-one basis, you have got all the securities aligned with you, no matter how approachable you seem to be. But security is playing a major role in your survival. Um, and also, we have started something in this week, for the Ultimate Global podcast. It is related to the meetups. So we are starting up with a meetup powered by Ultimate Global podcast in different parts of Sydney. And the main purpose of that is going to be to interact with different people in Sydney, to understand what they really want to listen to us on our channels, and what kind of conversations do they think they could not listen to on other channels, or what kind of things are missing on other channels which they want us to make available on our channels. And also, I think it will be a great way to just interact with people, and talk about stuff after lockdown. I know a lot of great stories of people who have been enjoying a lot once they attain freedom. So we would love to catch up with you. And George, you are also invited for that. It is at 7 p.m. on Thursday outside the Sydney Opera. So if you are free, you can definitely be there at 7 p.m. with Sharon, or at least you can send Sharon.
At 7 p.m. on Thursday, she's probably not even finished work at that stage, but we'll see what happens. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, George, for joining today. Thank you so much, everyone. I saw a good number of live audience joining us at the first 10 minutes. So that's a good news for us. And I would love to see more people joining us during these sessions and engaging with us and, making us understand what really we can post, which really interests you a lot. Thank you so much, George.
I think I'd like to leave people with this thought. Whoever your local member is, be it federal, local council or state, maybe now's a good time just to send them a vote of support, because they're probably not feeling the best at the moment either.
Absolutely. That is so important for those people who might be feeling a bit scared or dejected or afraid after what happened on Friday. Absolutely. Thank you so much, George, for joining us, and have a great day ahead.
Goodbye, everybody.